Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in to Jamie Elmer Yoga. Today I'll be teaching you one of my favorite core practices, and a core practice that I think is super effective for helping you heal lower back pain. Now, I realize that lower back pain is a massive topic. It could mean you have lower back tightness or weakness. It could mean that you have an SI joint issue or a history of disc issues. And I have found this exercise in my own experience and with many, many clients that have back pain to be really effective for healing. So obviously, if you're in acute pain or you've just had an accident, consult with your healthcare professional first before starting this practice. And it's called the forearm abdominal. We'll do it on our side, each side. I have my assistant coming over here to help demonstrate a little bit. And I'm going to mirror you during this practice. So I'm going to start down on my left forearm. You'll start down on your right. So you place your right elbow directly underneath your shoulder. And then bend your knees, have your heels in close to your seat, and have your hips bent here in flexion about 90 degrees. So your knees and your thighs are coming straight forward towards me. Now, I like to keep this bottom hand flexed. You can place your palm flat, whatever feels best for your elbow and your shoulder. And again, before we start, you can also angle your forearm in or angle it out, just depending on what feels best in your elbow and your shoulder. That's completely up to you. So I like my forearm straight forward towards you. I make a fist and first lift up out of that bottom shoulder so you don't have your shoulder slouching up into your ear. Lift up out of the bottom shoulder. Bring your top hand, your fingertips to the floor, to the mat here, and you'll use your top hand to start. First, take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, use that top hand navel to your spine to float your hips up away from the mat. Now I'm just going to pause here for a moment. You're going to look down and underneath that underarm, like you're trying to peek behind you a little bit. Now on an inhale, slowly place your hips down. And with your next exhale, navel to your spine, float your hips and your pelvis up, and use this top hand as much as you need to. Continue to lift up out of the bottom shoulder. Again, inhale, hips lower. Lightly let them touch down, and then exhale to rise. So you're using the outer muscles of that underneath hip. And inhale your hips down. And exhale, float your hips up. Now I'll show you a total of 10, so we have 6 more here. If you don't need your top hand and you can work a little harder, bring that hand around your underneath side waist and exhale to float up. Look underneath the underneath forearm and exhale, hips rise. 4 more, inhale, slowly lower. Wait for your exhale, navel to your spine. And last 3 here. So try to move with seamless movement. So there's not any stops or starts to the movement or to your breath. Go as slowly as you can. The slower you go, the more strength you'll build here. And 1 more, exhale to float up. And inhale, place your hips down. And we'll change sides. So this works so many muscles at one time in the body. It works the gluteus medius and minimus of that underneath hip, the outer hip. And it also works your obliques, your rectus abdominals, a lot of stabilizing muscles in your shoulder, including your serratus anterior. And that's why it's so good for our lower back, because it works and stabilizes a lot of the muscles that help to stabilize our lower back and our pelvis. So to change sides here, you'll be on your left elbow, elbow under your shoulder, fist or palm, adjust the angle of that forearm as you need to. Have your knees and your thighs coming directly straight forward towards me. And you can start with the top hand, fingertips down, lift up out of your bottom shoulder, take a deep breath in. Wait for your exhale. Think of navel to your spine gently as you press down into your elbow, down into that front hand to lift your hips up. And inhale slowly down. Wait for your exhale and rise up. Now, if you don't need the top hand and can work a little bit harder, you're going to wrap that hand around your underneath side waist. Exhale. Breathing in and out through your nose or through your mouth. And one of the things that happens here is that the knees start to drift away from us. So if that happens to you, you just need to adjust and bring your knees in a little bit closer so that your hips are in roughly 90 degrees of hip flexion. And exhale. Obviously, if you need some padding underneath your elbow or your knees, then use a blanket or a towel. It's a little bit of a side bend, a little bit of lateral flexion, a little bit of spinal flexion. And we'll do 2 more on this side. Long exhale, navel to your spine, slowly lift up. Inhale down, and last one, long exhale. And slowly release. Either come seated or stand, whatever is most comfortable for you. So you've just been working your outer hips, the gluteus medius and minimus. You're working your obliques, your rectus abdominals. The pelvis in this exercise is generally, for most people, in neutral, which means that your transverse abs can then kick on and work, which is a really great stabilizer for your lower back, to say the least. And you also have some side bend happening, so you may get a little stretch in your spine or in your lower back. And then all the muscles that help to stabilize our shoulder, including that serratus anterior muscle, great to help support the spine. So I would recommend starting with 5 of these, each side once a day. And then if you feel like you can work harder, you can graduate to 10, maybe 15, maybe 20. And see where you feel the work. You may not feel the work in one specific spot because there are so many muscles working when you do this, which is a good thing. And one of the reasons why this core exercise is great for our hips and our lower back is because it's not so linear. It's very different than, let's say, doing leg raises or bicycles on your back, where the spine stays in this linear pattern. And generally then the hip flexors start to tighten and that pulls on the lower back. This includes a little bit of lateral flexion in the spine, a little bit of flexion in the spine, and rotation. So see how that feels? I'd highly recommend it. Do it once a day. Be consistent about it for a week or 2. And I hope it works for you. So please subscribe to the channel, like the videos that you find helpful, and you can connect with me more on my website, jamieelmeryoga.com. And also on my website, you can access my membership site where I have an entire library of videos varying from beginner to advanced, 10 minutes to 90 minutes of yoga practices designed for you. So I will see you again soon. Have a great rest of your day.